before we continue to our next, okay, so yan, tapos na tayo sa ating first speaker. Now we are proceeding to our second speaker, who is a content creator, entrepreneur, and the proud Morena behind the Morena, the label, a brand that celebrates sun-kissed skin, yeah, challenges colorism in the Philippines. She is one half of the Confidence Radio podcast and is known as Ain Pero Tagalog on TikTok, where she produces bite-sized English lessons that aim to make language learning a little less intimidating for beginners. Ain is an advocate for women empowerment, self-development, and education. Let us be inspired with Miss Ain Bernos.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me. Today, it's my honor to share with you how I created Morena the Label as an online brand. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'd like to introduce myself first to give you a full idea of what this is all about. My name is Ayin Bernos. I am an entrepreneur, but I am also a content creator. I mostly make Morena beauty videos. I also create content about colorism in the Philippines. I make educational videos on TikTok, and most of my work is online. So hopefully I can give you guys an idea of what it's like to, build something on the World Wide Web. Okay, so first things first is I want to introduce you to what Morena the Label is and why we do what we do. So Morena the Label is a brand that celebrates sun-kissed skin and challenges colorism in the Philippines. We sell t-shirts, tote bags, and other merchandise. Now, the story of Morena the Label goes way back to, well, honestly, my childhood. It started with my childhood. I was a brown girl, a little brown girl, and I was often teased about my skin color because more than just being morena, I was also a swimmer. And so I was extremely dark. I was called a lot of names and it affected my self-esteem. So I kept that with me everywhere I go, really. And then when I had the opportunity to write my own thesis in university, I have a degree in English language studies. And one of the things that I was able to study was how language is used to maintain colorist ideologies in Philippine society. So there, my thesis was titled, okay, this was in 2015. My thesis was titled Language and Colorism, Beauty Ideologies in Ponds, Philippines YouTube Advertisements. And for me, that was really empowering because I was able to understand why we have the beauty standards that we have today and why it isn't changing. And one of the things that I focused on really was language. How do we talk about skin color? What conversations do Filipinos have around skin color? And how can we perhaps challenge colorism in this country? So what I learned was language is very, very powerful. And to me, more than just language online, it was language offline. So after that, that was in 2015, I started my YouTube channel in 2016 and I started creating content for Morena girls and boys and started, having conversations about colorism. Now, after that, I realized that there was something more to be done because everything that I did around skin color issues, it was all related to me. I wanted to create something that my community would be able to enjoy and hopefully benefit from that isn't, Ayin Bernos related. So when it came to a point where I was going to start my own merch brand, I realized that I didn't want it to be Ayin centric at all. I wanted it to be about our community. And our community, of course, was all about loving our skin. And that's why Morena the label was born. And that was in 2018. Yeah, that was in 2018. And I decided to partner with a print on demand company called Shirtly Marketplace. And they printed my t shirts. It was a very, very easy start for me because all I had to do was submit my designs and promote the products. I didn't have to spend a lot on capital because at that time, Shirley Marketplace allowed us to sell t-shirts on demand, meaning once the customer has confirmed their orders, then and only then will they produce the shirts, therefore minimizing the need for me to use capital or like have a big capital. What I really spent on at the beginning were just for photo shoots because of course it's important when you sell on social media. Really good photos, really good materials for online marketing, but that was about it. And then I officially started Morena the label. Now, Morena the label grew into a pretty sizable community online. We have so many photos of our customers wearing our t-shirts, sharing their stories. And even though I have not spent a lot of money on marketing or like Facebook ads and stuff on paid marketing, I'm really proud that we were able to grow this much just organically. And today that's what I want to share with you because selling online is pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy experience, but it is fulfilling and there is so much opportunity for success if you do it right. So before that, I want to talk about the pros and cons of selling or building a brand online. Okay, let's talk about the pros. For the pros, obviously, it's simple, it's accessible, and there is a low barrier to entry. Honestly, if you have access to the internet, you can start selling already, whether it's through Shopee, Lazada, having your own website through Shopify, it's quite easy as well, or even selling through Instagram, just creating a page, getting your friends and your family to follow, getting people to follow that page. It's really simple. It's really just posting what your products are and getting people to buy them. It's definitely not like when we used to rent spaces in bazaars or renting a space in a mall or like a lifestyle store. It's not like that at all. With the internet, our overhead costs are much lower, and it allows a lot of new entrepreneurs new opportunities to start their brands. However, the con to building a brand online would probably be the same thing. Because it's so easy, it's also saturated. Almost everyone is selling online to a certain degree. Almost everyone has an online shop. Almost everyone is an entrepreneur. And while that is a great thing, everyone has opportunities, it's also very difficult to stand out. How can you stand out in a space where everyone is free to present their ideas, their products with such a limited amount of money? This all boils down to a couple of things. Okay, so to me, I have three that are very, very important. To me, that's number one, product. Your product, what are you selling? Number two is your message, which is something that will differentiate you from everyone. And lastly is the platform or the logistics of how you are going to operate as a business. So let's start with a product. What are you selling? Is the first question that I want you to ask yourselves. By the way, I'm going to give you guys questions because I do believe that there are different ways to go about online selling or creating or brand building for people. It's a matter of figuring out how and what is going to work for you. So while, yes, I can give you answers, I feel like the most helpful thing is to give you questions so that you can start evaluating what it really means for you, what it really means to you to build a brand. Okay, so first question is, what are you selling? Is it a t-shirt? Is it a makeup product? Is it, furniture? What are you selling? But more than that, who are you selling it to? Because you cannot sell to everyone. I hear this a lot. My product is for everyone. My audience is everyone. It cannot be everyone. If you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. It's really difficult unless you're Amazon, but Amazon also has a variety of products that can target everyone, but not everyone can be Amazon. We need to, if we want more success, then we really need to understand who our consumers are. So that means zeroing in on the specifics. So for example, what's their age bracket? Where are they? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Facebook? Are they employed? Are they not employed? Are they viewers of which influencer? These things we really need to understand and know about our audience, our consumers, because this is how we are able to position our brand effectively. And lastly, why are you the one to sell it? I think this is specific for those who want to create brands instead of just sell online, because there's a difference. If you're creating a brand, you are creating an entire ecosystem, a community. Whereas if you're just reselling online, then it's just, an anonymous brand. But I think this is why you need to ask yourself the question, like, what are you actually doing in this situation? Are you building a brand or are you just reselling? Because if you're just reselling, that's a completely different, I think, that's a completely different workshop, different techniques, different strategies. But if you want to create a sustainable brand that you can bring everywhere, that people will recognize, this is the way to go. So why are you the one to sell these t-shirts? For example, Morena the Label are statement t-shirts. It's a simple white t-shirt that says Morena. Now, why am I the one to sell it? Why can't they get it from somebody else? Well, honestly, for me, my answer to this question, and like what I said earlier, your answer for this can also vary based on your personal experience. But for me, I'm the one to sell Morena the Label because this is and has always been my advocacy. I've been vocal about this on my online content, and I will continue to be vocal about it, even if I don't or no longer have Morena the Label. However, I do plan on, keeping Morena the Label around because there is so much still to be done. But I think it's important that people understand the connection between the product and the brand that is selling it, because what is stopping them from just going to the cheaper alternative? And this is something that you can communicate online. This is why a strong brand presence and strong brand message is very important when you're selling on social media or any e-commerce platform. The next one, like I said, is the message. First question for you guys: what message does your brand communicate? What do people think when they think of your brand? When people think of Morena the Label, obviously it's empowerment. It's about skin color positivity. It's about embracing being a Morena. It's pretty easy when you see the name Morena the Label. It's quite obvious what we want to talk about. But does your brand have that kind of impact? Something to think about. Number two, how will they remember you? Because the market is saturated and there are so many online brands popping up every single day, launching new products. It's like every single day there's something new. How will they remember you? So this is where we start going beyond just selling. I think the most sustainable brands do more than just sell products, because if you're just constantly selling stuff, people won't really build a relationship with you that's not transactional. And I think it's really important, especially in the age of social media, if you want to build a brand that people will remember and vouch for and be proud to share with their circle, you need to have a message that's strong, that goes beyond just the transactions that you have. Because nowadays, well, yes, business is business, people still care. People care more about where their money goes. We vote with our pesos. When we spend money on a brand, it's like empowering that brand to continue on. And our younger consumers, most especially, are much, much more mindful of that. So we need to be clear with our message. And if they would be proud of of supporting this brand, then they need to know that. They need to know why. So this is our responsibility as founders, as brand owners, to clearly communicate that message. And lastly, we have the platform. How are you going to reach your customers? What are you going to use? Are you going to sell it on Instagram, Shopee, Lazada, Shopify? How can your products reach them? What couriers are you using? Is it GoGo Express? Is it through Lalamove? What cost are they going to pay? Because these are considerations when you're building an e-commerce brand, because there is no physical experience. People cannot walk into your store, decide that they like something, and take it home. The customer journey now begins at seeing your brand on social media, clicking it, going to the website, experiencing how it is to navigate that website, checking out, paying for it, and then receiving it in the mail days later. How long will it take for your products to reach them? These are just so many, these are just details that I wish I knew before I got into e-commerce, because, oh my gosh, like honestly, you guys, relaunching and overhauling your back end, your logistics, it's a lot of work and it's really exhausting. So if you could figure this all out before you even begin selling, then that's much better. How can your product reach them, and how many people are you reaching? So again, these are things that I think these are more technical things. And the great thing about e-commerce is that you don't have to rely on gut feeling. There is data that you can get from the internet in order to do this. So for example, if you're running an Instagram account, there's analytics on Instagram. If you're running Facebook ads, you can also check how many people you're reaching, what their interests are, what kind of targeting you're doing. So if you are going to sell on e-commerce, then maximize the data that you have, that you will have when you start this business, because I do believe that this allows us, this is definitely an advantage, because we can rely on data and this information to make better decisions for our businesses. Okay, so in summary, I'd like to summarize this with a quick statement. This is just what I want you guys to take away from this. It's to understand who you are, understand who your customers are, and understand how you can keep reaching them. Those are just the three main things. It's you, your brand, your customers, and what's going to connect you to. And yes, that's the internet. But more than just the internet, we need to dive deeper. We need to understand how the platforms are going to be helpful to us and to them, how we can provide more value, more than just the product, what our message is going to say. Because if we want to be a sustainable brand on social media, then we need to provide value beyond the physical product. We also need to provide value with the content that we create, with our presence on the internet. My friends, the most important currency in business is trust. And I'm sure you've heard about this before, but this is especially true on social media, because people like to have reviews, write reviews. People love to share their experiences on social media. And if we are not looking at the customer journey closely, then we are not able to build that trust. So hopefully my short talk helped you have a little bit more insight as to what you need to consider when you're building your own brand online. And I hope that soon enough I can see your stores, your shops on Instagram, on Facebook, on Shopee, on Lazada, on Zalora, on Shopify, just on the internet, because the internet has really made the world a much smaller place, and hopefully I can see you maximizing your own space too. Thank you so much again for having me, and I hope that you guys learned a little bit from it, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Wow! Let's give Bernos a round of applause for that very enriching talk. No? Napakinggan natin sa kanya yung step-by-step if you're creating a brand of yours. So, sinabi niya yung about sa product, sa message, and sa platform. I also like what she said about sustainable. To have a sustainable brand, you must be able to provide or add value. And the most important currency in business is trust. Yan. So, welcome sa ating mga participants right now. So, if you can also share in our chat box your own brands. If you have your own brand, no, feel free to share in our chat box. This is a very intimate group naman. So, yan. So that we can also get to check out your social media accounts and probably like it, no? Kung meron kayong YouTube, may Facebook page, yan, so we can support each other on that matter. Or probably be a client then, di ba? Okay, so we're down already with 2 speakers, 2 more to go.